The iPad mini has always been Apple's weirdly lovable little tablet. It's the one people buy because they want something compact, powerful, and easy to throw into a bag without carrying a full-size screen everywhere. But for years, it's also felt like Apple's most neglected premium device. Same general look, 60Hz display, no official water resistance, and upgrades that were nice, but never exactly dramatic. That could be about to change, because the next iPad mini may finally get the kind of overhaul that turns it from a niche favorite into a genuinely tiny iPad Pro. And if the reports are right, we may not have to wait all that long. The current model arrived in October 2024 with an A17 Pro chip and support for Apple Intelligence, but its hardware was still built around a design language introduced back in 2021. This upcoming version, expected to be called the iPad mini 8, is rumored to tackle the biggest shortcomings all at once: screen quality, performance, durability, and maybe even the size of the display itself. So let's break down what's reportedly coming, what it could cost, and the one feature I really wouldn't get too excited about just yet. First up, the display. This is the big one. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has said the iPad mini is expected to be Apple's next device to move over to OLED, following the iPad Pro's transition in 2024. And that actually changes the experience of using this thing in a very real way. OLED gives every pixel its own light source. So instead of relying on a backlight behind the entire panel, black areas can simply switch off. The result is deeper blacks, punchier contrast, richer-looking colors, and better viewing angles. Basically, it's the display tech already found in flagship iPhones and the iPad Pro, finally potentially arriving in Apple's smallest tablet. For a device that's perfect for streaming, reading comics, editing photos, or watching videos on a flight, that's a seriously meaningful upgrade. Reports have also pointed to a small bump in screen size, from 8.3 inches to around 8.7 inches. That might not sound huge on paper, but on a compact tablet, even a little extra room could make multitasking and media feel noticeably less cramped. Now okay, so here's where it gets interesting. Refresh rate. The iPad mini currently runs at 60 Hz, meaning the screen updates 60 times per second. That's perfectly usable, of course, but once you've spent time scrolling on a 120 Hz screen, going back can feel oddly sluggish. Animations, games, and even moving through a web page just look more fluid at the higher rate. Since the standard iPhone 17 now includes a 120 Hz ProMotion display, there's an argument that Apple should bring that same smoothness to an OLED iPad mini. But I wouldn't count on it. The mini may use a more straightforward single-stack LTPS with OLED panel rather than the advanced dual-stack LTPO technology used in the iPad Pro. That could mean a lower-cost screen that may not reach the same brightness or flexibility as the Pro's panel. Could Apple still surprise us with 120 Hz? Absolutely. Do I think that's the safe expectation? Probably not. An OLED mini alone would be a big deal, but ProMotion might be the feature Apple keeps reserved for the more expensive models. Building on that, the processor is also set for a major step forward. Code Apple accidentally released reportedly identified new iPad mini models under the J510 and J511 names, with the A19 Pro expected inside. More specifically, it could use the version of the A19 Pro found in the iPhone Air, a 6-core CPU paired with a 5-core GPU. That chip is made using TSMC's enhanced 3nm with N3P process, and Apple says its peak graphics compute is 3 times higher than the previous generation. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean every app suddenly runs 3 times faster, but it does point to more headroom for demanding games, creative apps, and the growing list of Apple Intelligence features that process tasks directly on the device. There's also a 16-core neural engine, which is the part of the chip designed to handle machine learning workloads. Let me put that another way. This little tablet could have enough power to remain relevant for a very long time, even as Apple keeps adding more AI-focused capabilities. There is one outside possibility worth mentioning. The Mac rumors source has suggested Apple could jump all the way to an A20 Pro chip built with TSMC's next-generation 2nm process. That would be wild for an iPad mini. But it's also the less likely scenario, so I treat it as a fun possibility rather than something to plan a purchase around. A19 Pro is already an extremely capable upgrade, but the most unusual rumor might be about the speakers. Gurman has reported that Apple could redesign the iPad mini's audio system using vibration-based technology, removing traditional speaker openings from the body. Apple has held patents for systems that use vibrating surfaces to create sound, essentially allowing part of the device itself to function as the sound-producing element. And the reason that matters isn't only audio. Without speaker grilles, Apple can seal the chassis more effectively against water and dust. The current iPad mini doesn't have an official IP rating at all, so water resistance would be completely new for this product line. Think about how practical that is. Using it near a pool, in the kitchen, on a rainy commute, or just not panicking quite as much when a drink gets knocked over nearby. It's a clever solution because it could make the design cleaner while also improving durability. Of course, we'll need to see exactly what kind of rating, if any, Apple is willing to put on it. Now zoom out for a second, because all these upgrades lead to the painful question, what's this thing going to cost? The iPad mini has started at $499 since the 2021 redesign. According to Gurman, the next version could add another $100, bringing the starting price to $599. That's not a small jump. OLED panels cost more, the internals would be newer, and a redesigned speaker system with added protection doesn't come free. Still, at $600, Apple would need to make this feel dramatically more premium than the current mini. There has also been discussion that Apple could look at a cheaper mini in the future or reconsider the long-standing $499 tier, especially with competing tablets selling for less. But if you simply want an affordable Apple tablet today, the regular iPad remains the lower-cost route at $329, with Touch ID and an edge-to-edge design. The Mini, though, has always been about portability. It's the iPad for people who specifically want that smaller footprint. As for when we'll see it, the broad expectation is the second half of 2026. Leaker Instant Digital has said it won't arrive before the third quarter, and Display Supply Chain Consultants has also supported a 2026 window for an OLED iPad mini. The iPad Air, meanwhile, is expected to receive its own OLED treatment later, potentially in 2027. So, here's the bottom line. The next iPad mini could bring OLED, a slightly larger canvas, A19 Pro Performance, a fresh speaker design, and water resistance for the first time. The one big question mark is 120 Hz, and I keep expectations in check there. But even without it, this is shaping up to be the most important mini update Apple has ever made. Would an OLED, more durable iPad mini at $599 be enough to get you to upgrade? Drop your take in the comments, hit like if you want to see Apple give the mini the full pro treatment, and subscribe for more Apple news and information. See you in my next video. Goodbye.